Right, Wayne Hay, live for us in Tokyo. Thanks for that. Now, Malaysia's lawmakers in Parliament's lower house have approved a controversial law change that allows authorities to hold people without trial. Opponents fear the law could be abused by authorities to keep people behind bars for years. But Prime Minister Najib Razak has defended the move as necessary to combat organised crime. He's assured Malaysians that they won't be victimised and that authorities will follow clear procedures. Let's get more on this now from Yin Shao Loong, who is live from Kuala Lumpur. He's the research director for Institut Rakyat, a think tank affiliated to Malaysia's opposition coalition. Thank you for being with us. Now, your view on this detention law, then, it is, as we said, ostensibly about tackling crime, but are you afraid of the wider repercussions about this on civil liberties for Malaysians?
Yes, I am, Hazem. The problem with the current amendment to the Prevention of Crime Act is that it repeats many of the human rights violation provisions that were present in the former Internal Security Act and the Emergency Ordinance, which Prime Minister Najib had repealed last September in a sort of gesture of good faith as an attempt to rally more liberal support for him prior to the elections in May this year. Now, the major problem with those legislations that is being resurrected right now under the Prevention of Crime Act is the ability for the government to detain people without trial, and for periods up to 2 years, and this can be extended at the discretion of the government as well. And there's also the inability of the judiciary to intervene in terms of a review of this kind of process.
But as I understand it, crime is a major issue in Malaysia, and the government wants to be seen to be doing something to tackle it. What do you think is the right way to go about it?
Crime is certainly a problem, and there's been a very extensive Royal Commission on the reform of the police that has had a report that's been sitting around for years now, over 5 years. The government has not followed the recommendations tabled within the report, which was chaired by a very senior judge, Tun Zaidin, and the report recommended basically streamlining of the police force so that it would focus more on proper crime-fighting functions, because the vast majority of the police force, nearly 75%, doesn't actually focus on fighting actual crime. It's a legacy of the long emergency counterinsurgency problem that Malaysia had between the Malaysian Communist Party and the government following independence, where much of the police force was actually tasked as jungle fighters, riot police, sort of political spies, basically spying police in the special branch. And we have a situation where, for example, the special branch, which is a political policing unit, has about as many officers in it as the Criminal Investigation Department. And the Criminal Investigation Department has been laboring under a very heavy burden of sometimes up to 30 cases per officer per month. And so that's like literally a case per day. And so it's very unreasonable to expect the investigating officers to be able to process those kinds of crimes with that kind of work burden. The report of the Royal Commission recommended that the numbers of investigating officers in the Criminal Investigation Department be dramatically increased, and the department itself has asked for that, but the government has not been forthcoming. Why? Because of a number of reasons. The large amounts of police which are retained as jungle fighting police to fight a communist threat which no longer exists since 1989 are also an important source of what we call postal votes. During elections, there's some 14,000 officers there that can actually send votes in, which can also be, they don't have their sort of secrecy of their vote protected by the government.
Good to get your thoughts on all this. Yin Shao Loong from the Institut Rakyat in Kuala Lumpur. Thanks for your time. Lots more to come here on Al-Jazeera, including China.